Okay, so if you thought the first woe or the fifth trumpet we talked about last week was kind of wild, crazy, scary with those stinging locusts, a little horrifying, rough judgment, 5 months of torture by the locusts.
Thank you for the nightmare, Kathy.
Well, guess what? It's going to get worse. Yeah, so if you thought stinging locusts were bad, let's move on to the next judgment.
Meanwhile.
And see what else God could cook up, right?
Read it out in different Bible translations.
Oh yeah, and does it vary a lot with the wording?
Not all that much.
You just tormented yourself reading different translations? Oh,
Yeah, mine was a little bitty print like this. So
oh yeah. Okay, well let's start off where we left off last week, which is Revelation 9:13. So then the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden golden altar which is before God. So now we have the sixth angel stepping forward and blowing his horn, right? And it's interesting, you know, the altar, it's that gold altar where the prayers of the saints were put. There's four horns on each corner, and now there's voices coming from the horns of the altar. Isn't that an interesting picture? And we read about that altar back in Revelation 8:3. Then another angel having a golden censer came and stood at the altar. He was given much incense that he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. So this is where all the prayers have been laid. Same practice that they did on earth in the temple with the altar. They would bear the prayers and put them on the altar. But it's interesting, now this altar has almost got a life of its own because it's got a voice coming from it, and it's going to pronounce the judgment basically. So the altar of brass, that's what it looks like basically. Well, I should go back. The altar of brass, yeah, that's where the prayers were. So that's what we read about in 8:3. So the four horns at each corner not only represent the power of God, because that's what horns typically represent as power, but also point to all four quadrants of the earth. That's why it's north, south, east, and west. So it has a double meaning.
I get to listen to you and I forget to write.
This altar, does it also mimic the
earthly?
represent the altar like Old Testament times?
Yeah, it's a duplicate. It's the whole thing. We talked about one week. I don't know if you were here that week, but we talked about how the temple, the things that were in the temple or the tabernacle are replicated.
Yes.
They're replicas of what's in heaven. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a replica. This is the original. Let's put it that way. All right. Everybody got that? Okay, so the prayers from the saints from all over the world are now being answered by God. And we talked about how the time was right. God was going to answer those prayers, the martyrs' prayers, the people who cried out through time, asking for God to take care of what was done wrong. And this is when he's going to do it. He's answering their prayers. He's going to answer the judgment with judgment on the wickedness of mankind. So, especially the most important thing, the rejection of Jesus. That's the most important reason he's judging, because people have turned against and not accepted Jesus, right? So let's continue on. I'll read 9:14. Saying to the sixth angel, so the horns are talking, saying to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, release the four angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates. So the four angels who had been prepared for the hour and day and month and year, they knew exactly when they were going to be, they were prepared for a certain moment, right? Were released to kill a third of mankind. Now the number of the army of the horsemen was 200 million, and I heard a number of them. So these four angels were prepared or ready to accomplish what God predestined for them to do, to kill a third of mankind. That's their job.
And that's almost here, huh? Because the
Well,
Euphrates River is already drained up.
there's a lot of things that point us into that direction that seems like we're close. But I think you could probably ask the people who lived through World War II or World War I, and they would say, the end is here. And then there's a reprieve, things calm down. But looking at this, what we would consider the signs of the times, you would think we're closer. I mean, logically we are closer, but time is passing. So,
what is verse 16 referring to? The mounted troops?
yeah, that's what we'll talk about them. Okay, so these four angels, they have a job of leading a horrifying army, which is those 200 million. 200 million, that's huge. Huge army, right? And they're gonna take this army around, and they're gonna be killing a third of mankind all around the world. Very scary, very scary. Here's a artist rendition of the four angels. Isn't that an amazing thought to think that there are angels chained in the Euphrates River?
Yeah.
It's a very unique concept. But they've been prepared. Who knows how long they've been there? They've been prepared, and they're waiting for their moment to be released. And you don't want them released now because they have one job, to kill a third of mankind. That's a lot. But it's interesting where they're at. They're at the Euphrates River, and this particular area has been long associated with some bad things that have gone on throughout time. And maybe that's why they were there. Maybe because that's where a lot of bad things started. Maybe that's where they're going to be released from as a remedy, you might say, for what has gone on throughout time. So, excuse me, that area is where the first sin happened, right? The first murder happened there. The first dictatorship happened there. The first organized revolt against God happened there. And the first major war between kings happened there. A lot of bad stuff, sin came out of that same region, and perhaps that's why the angels are chained up there. It's because it's time for a reckoning, right? Bless you.
We also have had plenty of bad things happen in our time too, there.
Oh yes, yes. This is just the beginning. This is just the first 14 chapters of Genesis. Those major bad things that happened. You're right.
They all happen like along the river?
Yeah, that
or is
same-
there a certain spot?
I think it's just in that region near the river right there. You'd have to look at the map, but but it's all a short area, relative area. So everybody got that? Okay, so this is one artist rendition of this army of 200 million. Kind of a creepy look, huh? People come up with different ideas to try to depict what they think it's going to look like. So now, like with the locusts, these angels in the Euphrates River and the armies that lead them have been thought to be Satan, of the fallen angels or demons. People come up with a lot of theories, just like they did with the locusts. What are these creatures? But like I said last week, I've always held that these are specific creatures designed by God for a specific task. And it's not beyond him. He's all powerful. He could use evil forces because he's God. He could control them. But I think they're just something that was designed, like those angels. They're bound in the river. They were designed for a particular purpose. And these locusts and these lion horse creatures could be designed specifically for a purpose. But it's not really important which way they are because God's in control and he's going to use, whether it's something evil or something he creates, he's going to use them. So more important than knowing whether they are evil beings or God's specific creations is understand they are used to do God's will and judgment on mankind. People get in a lot of arguments about things. Well, I think they're Satan's people, or I think they're God's creation. Well, it doesn't really matter. What matters is what the purpose is. God's using them to take care of the wickedness in the world.
Well, and since God's been very specific about what we need to do to avoid it, that's all we have to worry about. We're not
Right.
in control of it.
No. Yeah, the main goal is, yes, avoid this, right? You want your family and friends to avoid this as well, right? You don't want them going through this. So let's read on Revelation 9:17. Let's look at what this lovely army looks like. And thus I saw the horses in the vision. Those who sat on them had breastplates of fiery red, hyacinth blue, and sulfur yellow. And the heads of the horses were like the heads of lions, and out of their mouths came fire, smoke, and brimstone. Kind of sounds like a dragon, huh? Yeah. So the breastplates of these horsemen were very intimidating, just reading about the breastplates. The fiery color of the breastplate is much like the fire issuing out of their mouths. That'd be very intense. You think about walking up to a real life dragon, right?
Oh,
But it's interesting because it's the lion head.
you know, I put a different thing in there. Okay. I put red, blue, and
And look at the tail.
I was just about to say.
Yeah, it gets better as it goes. Ready? The jacinth or hyacinth is a dark blue color, and it matches the smoke coming from their mouths. So it's a blue, smoky coming out. It's also all over the breastplate. Very descriptive. John sure had some strength about him to see all this stuff and relay it to people, write it down. The brimstone and sulfur color matches the brimstone and smoke coming from their mouths.
oh, wait a minute, I missed the last one. What was it?
Hold on.
How did I do that?
Sleeping on the job again.
Oh, the last one said the hyacinth is the dark
Blue,
color.
and then smoke.
Smoke.
Okay?
Smoke, okay.
Yeah. All right. And then this one.
Oh, now I'm getting there.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. Catch up. We can all take a mini nap.
I'm almost up.
Split second nap. Ready?
Right.
Okay. So a horse with a lion's head demonstrates its fierceness and aggressiveness. Yeah, you don't want a lion chasing you, do you?
I think I missed.
Did you? What did you miss? Did I miss one?
Yeah, you skipped one.
Did I?
Well, you put it on and then you went to the next one.
This one?
Yeah, okay, brimstone.
Okay, now everybody take another nap. Those of you who didn't get it.
Wait a minute. Oh, okay, because it's almost the same, that's why.
Yeah.
You know, they've just lived through 5 months of torture with the locusts chasing them and stinging them and living in pain and agony. And then this walks up on your doorstep.
Oh, I put smoke there.
You know, getting to work like we talked about last week is pretty difficult, isn't it?
That's why you shouldn't smoke.
Lion's head, here, lion's right here, lions.
See, you let Rosie have too much sugar as Claudia eats more. I'm not putting out the candy next week.
Enjoy it here.
Now I have an excuse.
F-I-E.
Huh?
R-C-E. Yes, and yes.
Are we okay?
There's six.
So Susan, have you got this one?
She did, she did.
I don't know where I lost it.
Okay, did we get this one? This is where we were.
Aggressiveness is what we need.
Yeah, aggressiveness, that's where we probably flipped back.
Aggressive, I didn't see that.
They're the king of the jungle, right? You don't mess with the lions, so that I think you can see that represented in their face, and it's pouring out smoke and fire like a dragon on top of it. Ugh.
It's that tail that really gets me.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a snake that'll bite from behind.
Okay, everybody got it? Okay. So the fire and brimstone shooting from their mouth brings judgment and destruction, because usually that's what fire and brimstone signify, right? Remember the old days preaching hellfire and brimstone, right? And that's where they pulled some of that from, or some of these type of scriptures. Judgment from God is coming out that lion's mouth, right? I would not want to walk up to it because you notice there's something on its back riding it, right? Yeah.
Fire.
I like that picture better than the other one.
Yeah, the other one was a little creepier even than that one, huh? Yeah.
Except that snake tail.
I know, it was,
Yeah.
Well, the other one had it too.
Oh, get it?
Yep. It just was a little creepier type of artwork.
Weird, but it had weird feet and legs.
Yeah, which is interesting. And I saw several artwork kind of like that, which I am not sure why. But so let's read on. Revelation 9:18 and 19. By these 3 plagues, a third of mankind was killed by the fire and the smoke and the brimstone. So those 3 things that are coming out of, coming out of the lion, out of the horse, are plagues. It's putting out plagues. That's how it's killing a third of the mankind. So you're either getting hit whatever the fire's doing to people, or the smoke is doing to people, or the brimstone's doing to people. It's a type of plague that's coming out of them, which I think is an interesting description. So by these 3 plagues, a third of mankind was killed by the fire and the smoke and the brimstone which came out of their mouths. For the power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails are like serpents, having heads, and with them they do harm. So you could get fire breathed on you from its mouth, or maybe it might get you with its tail.
First one doesn't get you, the second one will.
Yeah. Or it could be the other way around. Maybe it'll get you with the serpent head first. So these creatures' tails had serpent heads, and by these serpent heads and the fire from the lion's mouth, they killed a third of mankind with plagues. So now people are running through the streets screaming, being chased by these horses. I can't imagine living during this time period and all this stuff going on and all that other stuff we've already read about that was so horrifying on its own. And then you have these creatures going around killing people. Can you imagine what the explanation is coming out of the government or the news stations? What are they using to explain away the locusts or the horses?
They'll figure out something.
It's aliens. What are they out and out saying this is from God? Oh, he's so mean. I mean, what are they saying publicly? Yeah, it's the president's fault. Yeah, that's typical.
Is Trump still in office?
Yes, that's exactly.
There is no news.
Blame our poor old president.
Yes.
Well, there's got to be, but you know, people are going to be spreading rumors, you know, talking about this just like the old days, even if you didn't have. But I would think because it's a one world rule pretty soon, there's got to be some kind of system of communication to get people organized, and you would think there'd still be some form of news.
I don't see how there'd be many people left, honestly.
Oh well, there's still.
Now, what if you wanted to change your mind about that? You raise your hand and say, "Hey, I'm going with the Lord."
You do, but then you're on the Antichrist list.
Yeah.
Then you know, or even your family's list because they don't like you anymore. You think it's bad now when family doesn't like you. It's going to be bad then, you know. But I think it's interesting because it tells a lot about people with the excuses or the things they put out, you know, the news, their versions of things. What are they going to be saying? It's like explaining the rapture away. What were they saying about that? Did aliens rapture people? What's their story?
Well, and I heard the other day that in less than 10 years, all of the Holocaust survivors will be gone.
Right. It's
And
down
they're already
again.
are trying to say that it never happened.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and once they're gone, yeah.
Well, and I just think like right now AI is really big
Yes.
and like fake videos that look real.
Right.
But I feel like you can't really fake this because a third of the population is
Right.
freaked out.
But
Right.
if you weren't right there, they might discount it. Oh, it didn't really happen.
But it's all
It
over the
was all
entire
AI.
world.
It's just, you know.
It's all over the entire world, and you think what's already gone on. There's been hail fall from the sky with fire mixed in it and blood. Hard to explain that. They've got to come up with stories for everything that
Well,
happens.
there's a lot of
And it's all right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, will the Bible be available to people the way it is now? Or should we have known?
Yeah, exactly.
We
Exactly.
should know. We should recognize when it happens.
We should, and you know there'll be people that will know because they had relatives.
We should
That talked
recognize
about
things that
stuff,
happen today,
you know.
for Pete's sake.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're butchering our children, we're telling them they could be Furbies, no. How many of us have stood up and said, that's not true, that can't possibly be true, and yet they're doing it?
Yeah.
There are things that are unimaginable to me
Yeah.
that we've allowed in our society. I mean, it's just, this is the least of, maybe the least of our worries. We have less proof that all that happened. And now the AMA has had an aha moment. Oh, maybe we shouldn't be doing that. Really? I don't know.
Natalie?
I don't know if, this is something, but my son hangs around with a lot of, gay older men, and, they believe that, they said they never thought, cause they're rich, so they never thought that that a fire would ever happen in their place, but when that fire took over LA, one of the guys said, I never in my life thought that anything would ever hit like that in our area, like in their area, that it would never happen.
Right.
And he goes, so I believe in God now.
Oh.
Praise God.
Something reached him, and that's what this is all about. These sound horrifying. Nobody wants to live through it, but the point is to turn them around.
Yeah.
It's like one last chance. You need to listen.
Yeah. He says, don't push the religion on your son. Just, keep praying for him.
Right.
Prayer is worth so much.
Yeah.
It's worth so much more than we give it credit for a lot of times, I think. We say, I can only pray. That's a big plea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I pray to God I could pray.
And just
that we have that last chance.
Yes.
and just pray that God sends witnesses into his life that he'll accept.
Yeah.
It's not us a lot of times that they'll listen to. It's someone else. So you just pray for someone else. But whatever stories they tell, it'll just show the hardness of their hearts, right?
Yeah.
Because they're going to make up something to keep people, to make people follow the Antichrist when all this bad stuff's going on. They've got to be making up some pretty good stories. So 1/3 of mankind will be killed based on today's population, which is about 8 billion, right? It's actually a little more, 8 point something billion. That would be about 2.6 million or more at this point in time that would be killed. So in the future, that could be even more. Since our population.
But this is 1/3 of the.
Yeah, I didn't take all that calculation.
No, I was just thinking about that.
It would be adjusted for that, but we also would have an adjustment for the increase in population. So, but it's a lot of people is the point that are dying, right?
But will God call us people before that?
We're raptured, but the ones that become Christians during that time period, they're watching all this go on. But I believe he's going to protect the Christians as much as possible during that time period. But they're going to suffer because there's lack of food, lack of water. They're on the run. Everybody's dying. They're going to suffer, but they may be protected from this horse placing judgment on them because they know the Lord. So why does the horse need to bother them, right? He doesn't. So there's 200 million horses with heads like lions running all over the earth. What a sight. And they're shooting fire out. They're trampling things. 200 million horses is a lot of trampling going on. Right? You think about what one horse can do by itself. They're pretty powerful.
But when you read the next two verses, it's like nobody's going to be saved. Go ahead and read them. I just read ahead.
Okay, well, 2021 you mean?
Yes.
But the rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues did not repent of the works of their hands, that they should not worship demons and idols of gold, silver, brass, stone, and wood, which can neither see nor hear nor walk. And they did not repent of their murders, of their sorceries, of their sexual immorality, or their thefts. So this judgment still didn't get people to turn around. But we do know in the beginning there was lots of turning around because like the rapture had just happened, which opened up people's eyes. But yeah, this is the hardness of hearts to see this and not say. Of course, people get angry. They blame God for whatever's going on in their life. And maybe that's what some of this is. shake their fist at God. Why would you do this to me? You know, maybe that's what part of it is. But the fact is, they just love sin, because look what it says. They didn't repent of their murders. They're still murdering during this time period. Can you imagine? They're doing sorceries, so they're doing witchcraft type stuff, whatever. There's sexual immorality, and their thefts. They're just still doing their thing, even in the midst of this horribleness. The hardness of men's hearts. We love sin. We love doing what we need to do. And you know, some of this, you can see some of this is generated because people are starving. People are on the run. And you can see some murders are happening because of that and thievery. But this is almost an indication of it's more than that. It's just them being them. Same type of stuff we see now. People murder for whatever reason, hurt people, just for a crime of passion, just because they want to, whatever.
And anytime you see it, some kind of an apocalyptic movie, it's like that. You know, they show people just at their worst, at the very worst people could be. Maybe there's a couple people that are good, but hardly anybody.
Yeah.
You know, in those kind of movies, they kind of try to depict what it might be like.
Yeah, because you're fending for yourself. Everybody's for themselves.
Yeah.
So, because you think, what else is there, right? Might as well take care of myself. Yeah, our selfishness pops out. And they're worshiping, what did it say? They're worshiping things. Worshiping demons and idols of gold, silver and brass, stone and wood, which can neither see nor hear nor walk. They're worshiping whatever. As we know, that could be worshiping their money, worshiping whatever, right? Just things. Or false gods. There's a lot of that picking up now again, the idol type worship. So it's still going on. We've seen some of it even here in Kalinga. So it exists in different cultures.
Like actual idols.
Yes, and then doing some of the worship of the sun god.
That's going on in this town?
Yes.
Where have I been?
It's sad. It's sad. So other cultures still do that. They still worship whatever their gods are. And so we're seeing a little more of that in America now because we've had such an influx of cultures, right? And so they carry what they're used to doing here. So you can see during the worst of times, stuff like that's going to pick up again because you're going to try to cling on to whatever you think could give you hope. You know?
I wanna, well, since I found the trailer, I really wanna do a donut and coffee at the Olsen Park for all the homeless. So, and I wanted to ask sisters, like, when I do decide to do it, if they wanna go out there so they could pray for people.
Okay.
And, we could do, like worship music or something to touch them because they're lost. I mean, they think that it's okay to live the way they're living, and I want to show them that look, God put me from this to this, and I might have pains and aches and stuff, but you know what? God is good, and I'm still here.
Terry's been wanting to do that. We've talked about several prayer type ministries going out into the parks. Got a little sidetracked with some other things, but now that the weather's getting better, we might be able to do that again.
Involved
There
too,
was,
because they like to do that kind of ministry in the park and from different churches, get more churches
Mhm.
involved and just ours.
Yeah, we have to work on that, trying to get it figured out now. Things are maybe settling down a little more, so to speak.
Weather's gonna get better.
As soon as we move this stuff back into the offices, we can go out.
Especially for derbies.
You don't have to go out, you have to move 5 chairs.
Yeah. Gotta put the church back together.
In my mind, God set in my heart.
So it's sad. You're right. They don't look like they're going to repent. But there will be more people saved. It's going to get harder and harder, lesser and lesser as the pressure gets on.
A lot of people, they beat it on the bush instead of telling them, there is a hell and there's definitely a heaven. So you don't want to go to hell. You think that it's bad right now and you're living the way you are right now, but when God comes and takes his people, you do not want to be left behind. You want to go with him.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point of us learning this stuff. Isn't so much we need to know about these judgments, but it's good to know so that you can share with people. You really don't want to be here.
Right.
You want to know the Lord. You want to move on.
The Bulldogs know all the games and all that. I mean, if I could go in there and talk to them bad, I don't care.
You should get together with Juan because that's one of his ministries. That's his passion and what he
Yeah.
likes to do. Okay, so here's your next fill in the blank. Drugs. That's pharmakia in the Greek. Means sorceries or pharmaceutical drugs. That's going to be still going on. Sexual immorality, murders, thievery, and the occult will be rampant beyond our conception. We see little telltale signs of it picking up now. The television is a real telltale sign of how bad it's starting to get. Too much garbage. A lot of emphasis on witchcraft and other such things. Dead people walking, you know.
So it's hard to find wholesome entertainment.
It
that's
is.
That's being made right now.
It is.
Unless you're looking at old stuff, you
Yeah.
kind of see some.
Like those are wholesome.
Okay, so now that you've received all this wonderful news, let's look at some of the other viewpoints of how different denominations or people study this, okay? Like I've said, I go by the predictive interpretation. Predictive, yeah. Okay, I think it's future judgments, right? Okay, so let's look at some of the other belief systems. Okay, so the theopolitical, which are any church that's a Calvinist style church, they believe the serpentine tail is deception and represents falsehood or false doctrine. So people are going to be taken down by falsehood or false doctrine. They don't see it as a judgment, like an actual serpent coming along and biting people. They see it as there's going to be a symbolic, yes, of deception or false, which, you know,
This
is
is
possible.
pretty detailed.
I know. Pretty big imagery, right? Yeah.
And that's why I missed you. 'Cause they don't do that.
I'm trying to scare you.
Yeah.
You're educating us.
Okay, so everybody got that one?
Yes.
So those are the Calvinist believing churches. Okay, so they also believe in those style churches that it's comprehensive destruction. That's why it's mouths and tails, front and back. Suggests a comprehensive attack, both frontal assault through the physical war aggression like head. You know, the line's very aggressive, right? And the rear strike would be the subtle deceptive destruction. And that's the way a lot of enemies take people down, right? Or way we're deceived by the devil. There's deception on one side, underhanded, but then sometimes there's that big attack he does, right? So that's the way they see this symbolism. They don't see it as an actual lion-headed horse.
Well, I
Judging.
think that's happening right this very minute.
Yeah, you could say that, yeah.
That kind of stuff, we're not seeing the actual monster
Right.
of, of a, like we're seeing all this, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, definitely. And that's the way the devil works. One minute he's going to go full front on attack that's very obvious. Other times he sneaks in a little bit at a time, subtly deceives you, and attacks you that way, right? Yeah, so you can understand why they would think this. Okay, so context. Historically, many interpreters associate this with the Parthian cavalry. That's the Iranian army back before Jesus' time and after. They were around for a while. So they associate this as an event that already happened. And they were famous for fighting while retreating. And there's a special story about the Parthian shot. Or more broadly, Eastern military forces coming across Euphrates. So they tie this as an event that already happened in the past, that was very aggressive on the front, but there was deception involved as well.
And
It's
that's
still under the Calvinist.
Mm-hmm.
And that last blank is a cross.
Did I leave one off?
You
You just
filled
need to
it in.
highlight it,
Oh,
but it's-
sorry. I'm testing you, Lauren.
we're reading. We have-
That's a long one, huh? So they think this is all done and over with.
That's convenient.
I
It's,
think we choose sometimes what we think we can handle.
yeah,
And one of the things that I think we don't want to handle is that God is black and white. It's not a gray area that we've made.
right.
We've created a gray area for ourselves instead of accepting God as real.
Yeah, well, they want the easy way out. So a lot of these denominations or these style churches, they want to look at it as all over with because, boy, that's a lot easier.
Lower country.
So
What,
no horses coming my way.
what denominations would these be?
Okay, now you'll find them, it's kind of funny. Some of the American Baptists are Calvinist, and not every one of them. American Baptist is a funny denomination. Some of them are just like Southern Baptist, much more like us. It's just different how they run their missionary programs. But others are more like this Calvinist style. They don't believe in evangelism, and they believe in not revelation the way we do. They believe it's all past or whatever, symbolic. So
American Baptist.
it's not just them. There are other churches that are Calvinist, but they're like independents. You know, it's just someone that's adopted that Calvinist theology. So you can find it intermingled in other denominations. Okay, so let's look at another view. This is the one that's the preterist view, which is what many of the Roman Catholic believe. And it describes the Romans' army brutal assault on Israel during the Jewish-Roman War of 66 to 70 AD. So the preterist people, or the Roman Catholic denomination, believe that Revelation is in the past. And they believe that this particular incident with the 200 million horses army is in the past, and it's the Romans. Everybody got that? So for them, the four angels at the Euphrates signify divine judgment using Roman troops. So God used the Roman troops, while the 200 million horsemen represent the vast, destructive, and invincible nature of the Roman forces. So it's interesting. This goes back to the whole anti-Semitism of the early Catholic Church. The Romans were God's divine judgment on who?
The Jews.
The Jews. And so this goes back to that early thinking in their mind.
It's got deep foundations.
Yep. So number 3 is the pastoral or prophetic view, and this would be what Methodists or Presbyterians in general would believe. They say this particular judgment focuses on a divine, measured judgment designed to wake up a hardened world rather than mere chaotic destruction. And they have this overriding view. Each of these judgments are going to keep happening over and over again throughout history. And it's God's attempts to wake us up, each generation. So whatever judgment, that has come down, they'll say, well, that's what was predicted in Revelation during our generation to wake us up to make him follow him,
I
right?
can kind of see that through history. I can see where you think that, because it's the times.
Right, something appears to be
Yeah.
God's intervention or judgment, right? So everybody got this? So it highlights God's sovereign control over demonic forces. So they see these kinds of judgments as demonic, that God's using them to judge us. And severe consequences of unrepentant adultery and a call to urgent evangelism before the final devastating second woe. So they see it as a repeating judgment throughout time. And that God uses demonic forces to judge us, to get us to come back to him, right? To wake up. And it's a reminder, like we've talked about, you need to go witness to people so they don't fall prey to this, right? So number 4 is the poetic or theopoetic view. This would be the Episcopals, the Quakers, the United Church of Christ. And for them, it is a scene of cosmic irony where the very forces of evil that humanity worships, like idols of power, war, and materialism, turn upon them. So,
No, he's on his way.
so we've gone through 2 out of 3 woes. One more woe to go.